Hello, everybody. Just recording another one of these quick videos about something I did yesterday. I talked in my last video. I talked a bit about basically fear-based reporting, and the neighbors are drilling. They've been at it all day. I don't know what they're installing in their flat, but it has to be a lot of stuff. Just don't mind that. So I talked a bit about fear-based reporting and my feelings about the pandemic that we have going on right now. And I got some comments from people about masks, because I had said something about wearing masks. And I just want to make something very clear about masks here. I don't care if you wear masks or not. It's like, I don't care what God you pray to, who you fuck, how you fuck them. I don't give a damn. So those are generally things you do at home, right? So, that's all whatever in a church, like in a closed club. I don't care what you do there. That's none of my business. I feel the same thing about masks. Of course, you wear masks outside, and that's something different. But still, in the same vein, I don't really care if if you wear masks or not. I mean, I do it. Because I have to go shopping and stuff like that. But I also think it makes sense in certain settings. I just don't like it when it doesn't make sense. But I think that's a personal decision, and I will never attack anybody for wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. I think that's a personal choice. Now, but it's not that easy. Masks have been massively politicized, and people who say that's not the case, they obviously don't know what they're talking about. Sorry, I'm just turning my phone off again. I forget to do these things. They don't know what they're talking about. It's massively politicized, and what I don't appreciate is what I personally object to is if you talk about wearing a mask, and if you criticize other people for not wearing a mask, if you change your avatar in social media, so your picture, you're wearing a face mask, if you do this, like if you're being interviewed on television, right, and you're wearing a mask. I've been in enough television interviews that I know that they're always far enough away from you that you're actually physically distancing, even if there's not a pandemic going on. So if you do these things, you're not wearing a mask because you think you want to help somebody, you think it's a good idea, you want to protect yourself, you want to protect others. No, you're wearing a mask because you're virtual signaling. You're telling the world that you're a better person than somebody who's not wearing a mask. You're doing something right. You're a good person. You're a good citizen. You want to save the planet. It's kind of like these, status symbols, right? Like owning a car or having an expensive watch, right? Where you're telling the world, hey, look, I've got money. Which actually, is not always true. Even if it is an expensive watch, it might have been a gift 10 years ago. But you know what I mean, right? I object to people who do that. I don't think, right? If you just think, wearing a face mask in a certain situation is a good idea, and you want to protect yourself or you want to protect other people, then you just do that. And you shut up about it, right? And you don't complain at other people who are not wearing masks, even if the government says you should be wearing masks. Because if you do that, you're a Karen. And I know lots of people, I know lots of people just wear masks and shut up about it. And I don't object to that. What I object to is evangelism. And I have to say, I've been thinking about this. I was lying in bed yesterday, couldn't sleep for a bit. And I was thinking about this, and I've been guilty of this in the past. Not with masks, But I had a podcast called Linux Outlaws where we evangelize pretty heavily, I would say, these days about Linux. And we were of the opinion that Linux was a better operating system than, let's say, Windows. And we were telling people, and I was telling people, you need to run Linux. It's better. It's better for you. It's better for the world. It's better for society. And I wouldn't do that these days. I think that was a mistake. I think this kind of evangelism drives societies apart. This is what's happening right now with other topics, but I think it's the same behavior. I think it's I'm of the opinion that's no business of mine what operating system you run. I don't think it's bad informing people, right? I still like to do that, and we did a lot of that on Linux Outlaws, where we just, told people about Linux and, what you can do with it. I think that's good. I mean, it's the same thing with, let's say, Mask, right? Informing people why it might be a good idea if you got some actual evidence of it is not bad. What is bad is then going one step further and saying, kind of pushing it on people and saying you really need to wear a mask, right? If you don't wear a mask, you're like you're a racist Republican bigot or something. I'm just overdoing it here, but I think you'll get the idea. You know what I mean? And I specifically wanted to make the point that I think I made a mistake back in the day when I did this with Linux. I was young and idealistic. You get older, you get some gray hairs, you have more experience, you think about things. Because if I think back, then that didn't help. That never helps, right? You never get somebody to use Linux by telling them, it's better for everybody, it's better for society, it's better for you. That just doesn't work. And you don't get people to wear masks by telling them, oh, this is, it's better for everybody, or the government says you should, or whatever argument you have. You should just inform people and give them opinions. Not opinions. Yeah, well, you can give them opinions too. That's what I'm doing right now. No, you give them information that they can use. And if you have good arguments, you will get some people, you will convince them, right? And then they will start doing what you think is right. But the people you can't convince are the people you have to just let go. You have to just realize that there are people who have different opinions than you, and you have to respect those opinions. You might not agree with them, right? But you have to. Society only works if you living together in a society only works if you accept that, and you accept that people have just different opinions and they will do different things. And you might think it's dangerous, right? You might think, oh, these people who are not wearing the masks, they're endangering us all. They're endangering my relatives, everybody. But that's just something you have to accept. Because if you want to live in a democratic society with freedoms and the rule of law, then that's just something you have to accept. You have to accept that no matter how much you think you are right and how much you think how important your opinion is, or you probably don't think of it as an opinion, you probably think of it as facts, right? And you think that that's very important. No matter, that doesn't matter. You have to accept that there's a certain amount of people, and sometimes they're the majority, that you won't get to do what you want. The only way to get them to do what you want is to have, a totalitarian state where you, or people who think like you do, are the rulers. And you have to make that jump in your head where you're like, okay, even if you think that's preferable in this situation with this one topic that we're talking about, even if you think that this topic is so dire and so important that all of our survival depends on it, you still have to think further. If you do that and we all survive, what stops the next person with a different opinion than you, that you think is hell, from doing the same thing, right? And that's just the what I wanted to say. So I don't want people to think I am like, it's not about being anti-mask or pro-mask. It's about respecting other people and respecting their opinion, and respecting, as a government, for example, respecting the borders you have for the things you can do, right? The personal space and freedom that each person has, and how far you can go into that space and force them to do things. Because for the government, it's the same thing. Even no matter how important you think, no matter how bad you think the situation is, how much of an emergency it is, there are borders, there are rules, there are laws. There's freedoms that we all think accept that people have, and you just have to respect those. Otherwise, it's gonna be really bad. We're in for some really, really rough times. Interestingly enough, the more this all goes on, the more it reminds me of the stuff that happened in Germany 100 years ago. People think that's hyperbole, but actually, I feel like that. I feel like that in my bones. It's a whole different situation. It's a different time. It's different mass media at play, but it's still mass media. And it's just, I feel like it's, in some ways, it's like history repeating itself. I still have hope that we've built structures that we've learned from the last time, and we've built societal structures that will prevent this from happening again, and that we've taught people at a certain point to stop accepting accepting people taking their freedoms away. But we'll see. Anyway, as far as masks go, that's how I feel about it. Do whatever you want. Just think about why you're doing it. Are you actually doing it to help, right? Or are you doing it so that other people think you're doing the right thing, and to basically project an image of yourself that you're better than these other people? Because there's no need at all to have a mask in your Twitter avatar. It just makes you hard to, like, if it's an actual picture of you, you presume you have that picture so people can recognize you, and it just makes it hard. It makes it harder for you to be recognized. And there aren't enough situations where even if you're the most stringent believer in masks, there's situations where you don't need to wear them. I mean, I could wear one right now if I wanted to virtue signaling, but truth be told, I'm alone in my flat. There's nobody here. The only reason if I wore one now would be to signal to you that I'm doing the right thing. Same thing in a television interview where I'm standing like 2 meters away from the guy. They're holding the microphone on a big stick. It's a long stick that they use all the time, Anyway, that's it. That's a bit shorter video. This is more the length I had thought of. Whatever you're doing and whatever the government is doing where you are, I hope you're staying sane. Everybody these days says stay safe, right? Or stay healthy, they say in Germany. But I think the more important thing right now, the thing that I'm more worried about is people staying sane. Anyway, see you next time. Stay sane.